Singapore. Famed throughout Asia for its order and calm efficiency. Then, suddenly, one Saturday morning, disaster stops the entire country in its tracks. A 6-story hotel crashes to the ground in under 60 seconds. 33 people die, and 17 more are buried alive, trapped beneath thousands of tons of steel, glass, and concrete. It's the worst collapse in the country's history, and it leaves investigators baffled. Kilometers from downtown, this area is home to the manual laborers who support the booming economy. Here on Owen Road stands the Hotel New World, built in 1971. The building is unremarkable. 36 reinforced concrete columns supporting 6 concrete floors. There's a car park in the basement. The local branch of a bank takes up the ground floor. Above that is a popular nightclub. And a budget hotel occupies the rest of the building. As is usual in this hot climate, air conditioning units and water tanks are installed on the roof. At over 24 meters, it's small by Singapore standards, but one of the tallest buildings in Little India. The building has led an untroubled life, apart from one serious incident. In 1975, when a gas leak poisoned 35 people. Everybody made a full recovery, and the building was given a clean bill of health. March 14th, 1986, 11 years later. It's a Friday night, and as usual, Madame Lily Teo, the nightclub hostess, sets up the first floor bar in preparation for a busy evening, expecting the usual mix of businessmen and couples who visit her club. She's startled to see that a column on the dance floor has cracked. The time is 7 p.m. She decides to inform the building's owner. Shortly afterwards, with the nightclub now open, a couple of workmen start repairing the damage. No one pays much attention to them. By 9:15 p.m., the club is in full swing. In the staff dressing room, one of the girls checks her makeup. In Singapore, like most countries around the world, a broken mirror is a symbol of bad luck. But it's the end of the working week, and everyone in the nightclub is too busy having a good time to worry about silly superstitions. The next morning, Saturday, March 15th, 8 a.m. Cheong Cheng Guan, assistant manager of the ground floor bank, walks through the park with his childhood sweetheart. They were married 3 months ago, but he's been working so hard they haven't had time for their honeymoon yet.
We are happily married and we actually planned a trip to Australia and New Zealand.
As Cheong leaves for work, he says goodbye to his wife, Leong CC, knowing it's a big day for her. she's taking an important exam.
I was having my final exam for a diploma. Chong and I had planned to meet in the afternoon.
As it's a Saturday, the bank will close at lunchtime, and the couple are planning on spending the rest of the day walking hand in hand through Singapore's busy streets.
I was looking forward to Saturday afternoon after work, and then usually we will go out.
17 people work in the bank. It's a close, friendly team. As is common in Singapore, they take great pride in providing their customers with efficient service. 21-year-old Christina Fuhr has been working at the bank for just 3 months.
This is my first job in the bank, and I enjoy it very much.
Christina has never been up to the nightclub on the floor above, but she's sitting almost directly below the column on the dance floor that cracked the night before. "10:10 a.m. A customer comes into the bank. She's out of breath, saying there's a problem in the basement car park. Debris is falling down.
The customer told us that the bank is going to collapse.
Cheong stays in the bank whilst Christina and a colleague rush down to the basement to investigate. Although none of the cars are damaged, as they're leaving, they see 2 men in overalls working by a cracked column. There's debris on the floor, but the workmen say everything is fine. Reassured that it's nothing serious, they go back to work in the ground floor bank. Two floors above, in the hotel reception, staff see cracks and fissures spreading across the wall. But down below, Cheong and Christina are unaware of any further problems. Throughout the building, vital supporting walls and pillars are starting to fracture. The Hotel New World is on the brink of collapse. Something extraordinary is happening within an unremarkable building in Singapore's Little India. Cracks are spreading throughout the walls and supporting columns. But in the bank on the ground floor, Assistant Manager Cheong is oblivious. He's wondering how his wife Cece has done in her exam.
I wanted to see how she fared during the exam.
It's 11:22 a.m. Further back, Christina is finishing off the week's work when she's startled by a sound. It's falling debris.
I actually did not know what's happening.
And now she starts to feel vibrations all around her.
We can feel the floor is shaking.
11:26 a.m. Now the whole building is starting to shake uncontrollably. Pillars are cracking. Walls are giving way. An unstoppable, catastrophic collapse is set in motion.
It was very sudden. One instant you are working, the next instant it's all pitch dark and
Thousands of tons of steel-reinforced concrete rain down on the people inside. In one terrifying minute, the Hotel New World suffers total structural failure. Trapping dozens of people. What was once a local landmark and a place of work is now just a huge mound of rubble, surrounded by an enormous cloud of dust, visible for kilometers around. All 6 stories of the building have been destroyed, transformed into a concrete tomb. Christina, Cheong, and other bank staff are buried at the very bottom of the building rubble, in the pitch-black basement car park.
We couldn't see anything, we couldn't hear anything. We couldn't even see our hand.
Cheong can't see his colleague Christina, even though she's just a meter or 2 away, pinned down by massive concrete slabs.
I was just like laying in the coffin. I couldn't move at all.
Back on the surface, it's a scene of total devastation. News crews film local people frantically clambering onto the wreckage. They furiously manhandle rubble, desperately searching for any survivors. "11:35 a.m. Within 8 minutes, emergency workers start arriving. Singapore's top military medic, Dr. Lim Meng Kin, rushes to help. He's stunned by the scale of this unprecedented catastrophe.
This is the biggest disaster since World War II.
The terrible news is spreading to grief-stricken relatives who mingle amongst the crowds of stunned onlookers. It's a scene of total bewilderment and rising dread. Around noon, over half an hour into the disaster, Cheong's wife Cici arrives and realizes that her husband is buried somewhere inside the mountain of rubble. She has no way of knowing whether he's dead or alive. She finds her uncle, who happens to be a structural engineer, but he can offer her no real comfort.
I remember asking him, what are the chances of Cheong surviving in such a collapse? He told me we should just hope for the best.
About 10 meters from Cici, below the rubble, her husband Cheong is fighting off the panic. But all around, other survivors, like his colleague Christina, are aware of mounting hysteria.
I can hear a lot of people crying. They was asking for help. Some of them was screaming, and some of them was crying in pain.
Some of the survivors are badly injured, but Assistant Manager Cheong is determined to keep everyone calm.
I thought it's a matter of time, people will come to rescue us, you see.
"12:30 p.m. About 1 hour after the collapse, back on the surface, there's good news. The rescue teams find a survivor, a tourist, who is staying on the top floors of the hotel. Shortly afterwards, they haul a second survivor, a local shopkeeper, from the hotel debris. The rescuers hastily put together a list of all those known to have been in the building when it collapsed. They can account for everyone known to have been in the hotel on the top 4 floors. 17 are dead, and 11 have been rescued alive. The nightclub on the floor below was empty. But the ground floor bank is a different matter. Their list reveals that up to 20 people, including Cheong and Christina, were working there when the building collapsed and will be buried at the very bottom of the rubble. "11:30 p.m. 12 hours after the disaster, the rescue teams are working through the night trying to reach the bank. Heavy machinery hauls huge slabs of debris away from the top. But the rubble is very unstable and shifts dangerously. Some 10 meters below the glare of the rescuers' arc lights, with vibrations shaking the wreckage, the horror is growing. The survivors are trapped in a dark tomb under 6,000 tons of concrete and steel. Assistant Manager Cheong is just within reach of one of his bank colleagues, who's lying injured nearby, crushed by a beam. He tries desperately to push the beam away, but it's too heavy.
I felt very helpless. Your colleague is here, dying, and then you can't do anything at all. That was bad.
Cheong realizes his efforts are in vain.
I could smell the stench of death. It's very sad. Your own colleague you have been working for so many years with, and all of a sudden he's gone.
The crushed masonry is preventing the circulation of air. Oxygen is beginning to run out. Just a meter or two from Cheong, Christina is becoming desperate.
I was thinking I'm still very young. I still got lots of things to do. And I'm not married yet. I can't just die like that.
Back on the surface, the rescuers still have 10 meters of rubble to dig through. At this rate, it'll take days to reach Cheong and Christina. With the oxygen getting thinner, this is time they just don't have. Midnight. Half a day has passed since the collapse of Singapore's Hotel New World building. Only 11 people have been pulled alive from the rubble. Christina and Cheong are trapped deep in the basement car park. A team of Irish engineers working on the nearby subway construction is watching the rescue work. Subway tunneler Tommy Gallagher is especially concerned that the use of heavy machinery may be causing the rubble to shift and fall, potentially endangering the lives of any survivors buried at the very bottom of the mound.
We kept saying to the senior people in charge, we think there is people in that building alive. And what you're doing here, you're going to kill them.
They propose a radical alternative, abandoning the use of cranes to clear the rubble from the top, and instead tunneling deep into the foundations of the building to get survivors out. It's a very difficult decision, but around dawn the authorities give the green light to Tommy and his colleagues. The Irish engineers have no idea exactly where in the basement any survivors may be. After close examination of the building plans, they decide the quickest way to get into the car park is to break through ventilation shafts accessible from street level. A rescue camera reveals a scene of devastation. The tunnelers have to wade through knee-deep water and push past crushed cars. To their horror, they can smell petrol. They know a single spark could set up a devastating explosion. The car park is a death trap.
That's what we were worried about. Any spark of a machinery would...
The subway engineers have an agonizing wait whilst the water and petrol are pumped out. Then they start hacking a makeshift tunnel through the debris, using small hydraulic jacks to support the thousands of tons of rubble above. Sunday, 7 p.m. It takes 7 hours to tunnel 9 meters.
The ground's so unstable above us, everything, we were just taking a chance, like.
Then their worst fears are realized.
It started to close in on us.
The tunnel caves in. Tommy and his mates scramble out moments before the roof collapses. Their path is totally blocked. Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Cheong and Christina have been buried in the stifling, claustrophobic darkness for 32 hours. They have no idea rescuers are trying to reach them. Undeterred by the cave-in, the Irish engineers start digging more tunnels in the dangerous building rubble, willingly risking their lives.
The tunnelers were the bravest people I've ever met in my life. And the way they went about it, the spirit, it's a spirit that's very rare, really.
Tunnels 2 and 3 are built from the southeast, but the subway engineers soon find their path blocked by huge slabs of debris. With Tunnel 1 still too dangerous after the cave-in, a fourth tunnel is dug northwards. It takes all night, but Tommy and his mates crawl under crushed cars and dig all the way around the exterior basement wall.
We worked round the clock. We never went to bed.
Monday, 7 a.m. Chiong and Christina have been trapped in the rubble for almost 2 days. They're losing track of time.
We don't even know how many days we was trapped inside.
I was just trying to keep alive because I have a lot of things to live for.
Then, Chiong hears a noise.
We could hear rumbling sounds, from the distance.
Hoping that it's a rescue team, the bankers start tapping frantically on the beams that are trapping them.
Hello! I'm here!
Down here!
Where? Coming to get you!
We was very happy, didn't know where we are.
The tunnelers crawl ever closer to Chiong and Christina. They feel they're on the verge of reaching them, but they face one last obstacle.
And all of a sudden we had a metre square concrete beam and it was right in front of us. We had it smack on. So they were on the other side of that.
They have no idea where in the building the beam came from, but they're desperately concerned that it's helping to support the weight of the collapsed building above them. 6,000 tons of rubble are balanced delicately above the heads of Christina, Chiong, and now the tunnelers. It's noon on Monday, 2 days into the disaster. The rescue workers decide they have no choice except to break through the huge concrete beam. Dr. Lim joins them, ready for any emergency.
You don't think of the danger. There's somebody at the end of the tunnel and you want to reach that person.
The tunnelers' drills carve through the concrete surprisingly fast. A few meters away, in the darkness, Chiong hears the drilling getting louder.
They keep asking me, can you see a light? Can you see a light? Finally, I could see, and there's a chink of light from somewhere.
Soon, Chiong is able to see the rescuers just the other side of the hole. The tunnelers are terrified that they may have cut through a major supporting beam. They fear the rubble could come crashing down at any moment. They tell Chiong to stay where he is whilst they prop up the roof.
I said, no thank you, I'm coming out.
Chiong cannot bear to stay another moment in the darkness. He scrambles towards safety.
We just ran. I said, I don't blame you either, because he thought he would never come out of there alive, he said.
After 2 days, buried alive, Chiong is able to walk out into the daylight with just a few scratches.
That was really a miracle.
Christina is buried deeper in the rubble. It takes another 7 hours to rescue her. Dr. Lim leads Christina away on a stretcher. Later examinations reveal her only injury is a black eye.
I feel just like a hero or something like that.
Chiong and his wife Cece are finally reunited at the hospital.
It was such a moment of joy, such great joy.
You just feel that life is very fragile. Anytime it can be taken away from you, and you just live.
Thanks to the pioneering use of tunnels to dig into the very deepest parts of the rubble, 6 more survivors are ultimately pulled alive from the wreck of Hotel New World. In all, 17 people have been saved. but 33 have lost their lives.